else we love, or two things we love: India and the Beatles, and that's what we're talking about next. And this is coming from ultimateclassicrock.com, and fear not, it's actually movie related. We're not talking about music here. Well, we are in a sense, but this is movie related, and it's all about new Beatles and India film to include album of interpretations. We call that covers, but this is actually come out on the 28th of May.
Love that artwork, Stephen, I have to say.
Fantastic,
Absolutely
John,
fucking incredible.
Look at that.
Psychedelic. It's like it's
colours.
straight out of Magical Mystery Tour, Yellow Submarine.
Yeah, an enduring love affair, and that's certainly what it was.
Bit of cooler shaker.
I'm going to just definitely, I'm going to just read the article, John, because it's very short and sweet anyway, and it kind of highlights the sort of what's related to this story anyway. And the new documentary called The Beatles in India will centre on the band's spiritual and creative connection with the country. There will also be a companion album of Beatles songs interpreted by Indian artists. The movie is set to premiere in the UK on the 6th of June, while the LP titled The Beatles in India, songs inspired by the film will follow in the fall. That's autumn, we call that here. Each album track was either inspired by the Beatles' 1968 visit to India or other era-specific songs related to the country. Some include Child of Nature, Sexy Sadie and Dear Prudence.
Sexy Sadie.
You can hear Marish. You can hear the first single, a cover of John Lennon's 1980 song India India, performed by singer Nikhil D'Souza below. And we're not going to click that, John, because I don't want to get into trouble. But the film is co-directed by Ajoy Bose, author of Across the Universe, The Beatles in India, and cultural researcher Peter Compton, and features rarely seen archival footage, photographs, recordings, eyewitness accounts, expert comments, and on-location shoots across India. The Beatles' 1968 journey to India was also documented last year in Meeting the Beatles in India.
I've never seen that.
No, I've not seen it.
I need to watch that.
Yep, exactly. A feature from Emmy-winning filmmaker Paul Saltzman, who has travelled to India and met the group there. You can view the track listings for the upcoming album here, John. I'm not going to read them all out because they are there, they're on the screen.
It better be everybody's got something to hide. It's it's set from me, my monkey. Oh yes.
Yeah. John, I always like when these kind of albums come out because I do like to see different interpretation of Beatles songs.
What was that song, Stephen? The one with Sean Penn? Was it Sean Penn?
It was I Am Sam.
I Am Sam.
The soundtrack to that, John, I loved. I know obviously certain films, when they want to cover sort of Beatles related stuff, can't afford to be able to put the original soundtracks, and I get that.
No.
So the next best thing is to get established artists to cover these famous songs.
And then you had the Sgt. Pepper's.
It will cost you some money to do that, but not as much as obviously. Yeah, John, exactly, Sgt. Pepper's as well. But this is something that's right down my street. I love a good Beatles documentary. I prefer when it's an Apple release, an Apple Corpse release, because it's the definitive version. It's what actually happened. But I don't mind this, John, especially when you're getting people who spoke to the Beatles. Paul Saltzman, is it, who travelled to India and met the group there. So it's kind of first-hand eyewitness accounts anyway. So it's not, I heard someone saying, this happened. It's not third hand information or anything like that. It's coming from someone who was an eyewitness. So, and obviously the tracks as well, John. There's some famous great tracks in there. In fact, they're all great tracks.
We'll bring them back up, Steve, and have a little look.
Hear these versions.
Steve, I'm not going to presume to know much about the Indian artists who are covering them, because I don't know much about them. But I'm very intrigued to hear them, because as you did say, I also like to hear different interpretations on classic Beatles songs, and certainly when you look at the era, it's the White Album era round about then, and that is one of my favourite eras, because it's when they were really getting into their acid spirituality and exploring new concepts. So I'm excited to see it.
Yeah.
And then obviously George was the most famous one, dabbling with the Indian stuff. The sitar and going over. He was well into his transcendental meditation. I think it's a Hindu thing, not Hindi, that's a language, Hindu sort of thing. I might be wrong, I may be well wrong in actual fact, but I want to see them looking at this. I don't know if it's just about their connection with the Indian style music, of course, Within You, Without You and all of that. They brought in, was Inner Light another one?
Inner Light,
they brought in all of the sort of Indian stuff. I know he wasn't the only one. I know Brian Jones
of the Rolling Stones.
The Rolling Stones. Drugged out his nut, Brian Jones. He was dabbling with sitar around about the same time.
So it was the Kinks.
The Kinks. Yeah. So I know it was a widespread thing. They were mixing all the different cultures into a big melting pot, which is always good.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they're just going to focus on that. I'm looking at it, they're saying long location shoots across India, so it's going to be archival footage, so we're going to see more of the Maharishi Yogi Mahesh, I think the geezer was, that get famously sung about in Sexy Sadie, because he got accused of inappropriately touching one of the actors who was there. It's famous group of famous people. And I think Lennon famously says when George Harrison wasn't backing him up, that's when I knew we were in trouble. So I cannot wait to see this, man. I'm intrigued by that Paul Saltzman one as well. I'm going to go and have a look at that, meeting the Beatles in India.
Yeah, definitely.
Just want to see more of that period, man. They were absolutely cool as hell. I've seen some of the shots. Lennon with his sort of overgrown sideburn beard.
Yeah, the glasses. Yeah,
glasses. Just incredible time. They're experimenting, finger picking and stuff like that.
Kind of stuff that features in the Beatles anthology. And you do think there must be more out there. There must be more footage, because it only shows you little bits in the Beatles anthology, because we're covering so much. You know, the whole complete history of the Beatles.
Do you think there's more archive footage, Stephen, floating around?
I think so. And,
fantastic.
I still believe there's more footage of Lennon in 1980 as well out there.
Oh, there is.
Apart from that, I'm losing your video that cropped up a couple of times on YouTube, which focused on his guitar rather than the actual
terrible
person.
sort of seat guitar thing he had.
Yeah,
I don't know what he's thinking about.
I'm sure there's more out there.
Stephen, I'm sure that there is more out there. The truth is out there, as Fox Mulder famously used to say.
Give me some truth.
Give me some truth, yeah. Just give me some truth. I don't know the words. You know them, Stephen?
I do, but that sounded like Jedi Rocks there, John.
Just give me some truth. All I want is some truth. Man, I like to say, man. Peace and love, everybody. That's going to round it up.